Hi friends, welcome to Introducing. My name is Irina and I work at the National Portrait Gallery, where we share the stories of people who have helped to shape the United States. Each week for Introducing, we shine a light on some of this country's history makers and their portraits. Just like reading a book, looking at a portrait can tell a story too. This week, I want to introduce to you Margaret Wise Brown. And this is her portrait. It's a black and white photograph. Margaret Wise Brown was a writer and author of children's books. Let's look at her clothing. In this photograph, Margaret Wise Brown is wearing a striped scarf around her neck and a suit jacket. Now let's look at her facial expression. She has her mouth closed and her eyes are looking down. Do you think she looks serious or focused? To me, Margaret Wise Brown looks like she's concentrating or focusing on something. What do you think that might be? Maybe she's focused on what she's writing on her notepad. As a writer, Margaret Wise Brown was prolific. Someone who is prolific creates or produces a large number of one thing. For Margaret Wise Brown, she was a prolific writer, meaning that she wrote a large number of books. Margaret Wise Brown actually wrote over 100 books, and most of them were for children. Many of her books, like Runaway Bunny and Goodnight Moon, are still very popular today. Have you heard of or read one of those books? In this photograph, Margaret Wise Brown is sitting in a chair with a blanket that covers her lap. Above her is the bottom of a picture frame, and next to her on the table is a lamp and a telephone. What do you think it would be like to write in her space? Also, near Margaret Wise Brown is a notepad, and on the notepad, Margaret Wise Brown is holding a quill pen. A quill pen is made from a feather, which you can see in her hand, and when it's dipped in ink, it can be used to write with. In this photograph, Margaret Wise Brown is using a quill pen to write on her notepad. Margaret Wise Brown often liked to use a quill pen to hand write her manuscripts. A manuscript is a piece of writing that has not yet been published. What do you think Margaret Wise Brown is writing about in this photograph? Margaret Wise Brown began to write children's books while teaching. The words or groups of words in her books often repeat. This style of writing gave Margaret Wise Brown's books a rhythm, kind of like a poem. Good night room, good night moon, good night cow jumping over the moon. Do you hear the word good night being repeated in those phrases? Margaret Wise Brown also wrote her stories in the here and now. She wrote about things you might see or experience every day, like hearing the noises and the sounds of the street as you walk down it, or saying goodnight before going to bed. What are some things that you experience or do every day? In her stories, Margaret Wise Brown explored the wonderful world around us, and today we get to read and listen to the stories she created. So friends, Thank you so much for listening to Introducing Margaret Weiss Brown, and we hope to see you right back here next Wednesday for another one.